What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Command and Console. My name is Jason. Today I've picked up 8 titles for my PS2 collection. So that means my video from last Tuesday is now out of date. Woohoo! Out of date. Who cares? Go and watch that video. See what I had in my bulk of my collection. But now we add 8 titles to the collection. Welcome to Project PS2. So the first game on the docket, as you would say, is a midway published telekinesis third-person shooter, and it's pretty decent. It's called PsyOps, the Mind Gate Conspiracy. Now, I remember back in the day, there was a war, a butting of heads, shall we say, between 2 really good games that were third-person games focused on telekinesis powers. You had PsyOps, this one, which is the one that I prefer over the other game. The other game was called Second Sight, and it was more of a stealth game. It was a bit different, made by the guys who made Time Splitters, but very good though. But I always preferred this one because this one was more action focused, and that's more in my kind of taste. And it was violent as all hell. You can really mess up some people in this with your powers. Really cool game. I really like it. I think it shows the power of, you know, it emphasises your power in the game in a really cool way. And it doesn't shy away from the violence either. You actually feel like you're dangerous in this game. It's really cool. Really recommend this one. That's PsyOps, the Mind Gate Conspiracy. Next game is a game I did talk about very briefly in my PS2 collection video. It is Project Snowblind. Now this game started life, I think, either as a Deus Ex sequel or a Deus Ex spin-off, one of the two. So from what I know, it's got some kind of a Deus Ex flavour. Like, you got cybernetics, the universe looks very similar in that kind of like cyberpunk, steampunk, whatever you want to call it, kind of era, kind of world. And this is the game. I've not played it before, so I don't know of its quality, of course, but I've seen you guys recommend this game in the comments over the last year or so in some of my videos. So it was like £1. I thought, you know what, let's check it out, pick it up. I love Deus Ex, so this game should be fairly in the same vein, right? Hopefully. So that's Project Snowblind. The next game is a action RPG by Ubisoft, and it is an isometric RPG. So it's kind of like basically a Diablo clone. You know, in all but name, I suppose. It's very much those typical kind of isometric RPGs. This is more of the action RPG variety. And it's called Champions of Norath, or Norath, however you want to pronounce that. I don't care, but I usually say Champions of Norath is how I would say. But anyway, I played tons of this growing up. Absolutely tons of it. I used to go around my friend's house and we used to play co-op, and yeah, it was a rock hard game from what I remember. Really long game, because I think we played through chapter 1. I think it took about 8 hours, you know, to beat that chapter. So this is a massive game from what I remember. I remember it being really fun. If you like Diablo and you like, you know, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, I think you're going to enjoy this one. Really fun, lots of loot to get, lots of awesome weapons to acquire. You feel powerful as hell in this as well. And yeah, I just think it's a really good isometric action RPG, and it's recommended by me as well. Definitely recommend that one. I got a fun story about this game though. We imported my brother's character, and he dropped all his gear. He was further along than us in the game, and we just stole all his good gear. So we actually had a bit of a jump start at the beginning of the game. But we suck at games, so it still took us like 8 hours to finish the chapter 1, which is funny. But yeah, this is still a great game though. It's still loads of fun. Looking forward to jumping back into it and checking it out. Not played it in years, so looking forward to that one. That's Champions of Norath. Next up, we've got a bunch of Dreamcast ports. Like I was saying in my video a little while ago, I want to get some of the games that were on Dreamcast that were ported to PS2, because I don't plan to collect for Dreamcast or buy a Dreamcast. So the PS2 ports will be the next best thing for that. And I've picked up a few titles here that I'm excited to check out. One game is a sports title. Rare occasion for me to buy sports titles, but it is Virtua Tennis 2. Now, when I had a Dreamcast, this was my chill out game. I played tons of this growing up. To the point where, like, I've never actually been a fan of sport, really. Like, I don't really watch sport at all. Arguably, I like wrestling, but people don't really consider that a sport as such. But if there is anything close to sport that I like, it would be wrestling. Anyway, I don't even care about tennis at all. Don't watch it, don't care. But I played loads of it. To the point where, like, my nan used to be really big into her tennis. She used to watch tennis all the time. She'd sit there and she'd watch me play virtual tennis on the Dreamcast. So I've got fun memories about my nan as well, where she'd be like trying to get me to. She knew all the rules as well, so she'd be like, oh, you've got to make sure you don't get it out. You got to get the win. She was. I love my nan. She was great. But yeah, played loads of this one. I don't know what the PS2 port is like, but I'm kind of excited to jump back on this because I remember playing loads of it when I was younger on the Dreamcast. That's Virtual Tennis 2. The next Dreamcast port is a street racing game that I've only got very, very vague memories of because I didn't own it. My friend had it. He had the Dreamcast version. It's a game called Tokyo Extreme Racer. This game seems pretty cool because I think it's all based on the Japanese importer scene, and it's all about, like, street racing. But from what I know is that it's not your typical Need for Speed kind of street racing. It's more kind of, it drops you in and you've got to basically build yourself up the ranks, but you've got to choose your races carefully, make sure you can win, because you could just challenge a random racer and then he could just blow you out of the water in terms of his speed and his skill. So I'm definitely looking forward to checking this out. It sounds like it's more of a thinking's man kind of racing game in terms of that kind of street racing style. That's Tokyo Extreme Racer. Looking forward to checking this one out. It looks pretty decent. This next game is a Dreamcast port as well, and it was recommended by a viewer of the channel. I do apologise, I forgot who it was who recommended it to me, but whoever you are, you know who you are, so thank you very much. Is a vertical shoot 'em up. It's called Gunbird, and this is the special edition version. I think it was just called Special Edition on the PS2 because it was a re-release. But yeah, don't play many shoot 'em ups, but when I do play them, like that meme says, I do enjoy myself with them. So I do have fun with them. Yeah, Gunbird, it looks pretty cool. I remember the comment in particular was saying, like, you gotta pull your hair out, it's so difficult, it's rock hard, it's one of those really, I'm assuming bullet hell shooters. I'm assuming, I don't know, but this was fairly cheap as well, not an expensive purchase at all. It was like 10 quid or something, but yeah, that's another Dreamcast port crossed off the list for me. That's Gunbird Special Edition. The last two games are games I'm actually really excited about revisiting because I don't think I liked either of them growing up. I felt they were maybe a bit too grown up for me. I didn't really get the game or get the mechanics per se. And these two games in particular are by my favourite developer, which is Capcom right now. I've loved Capcom for years and years and years, ever since the first Resident Evil title. Even going back before that, Castle of Illusion, the Disney ports on Master System and stuff like that. So I've got so much love for Capcom. These last two titles are both Capcom titles, fairly big hitters. One's more expensive than the other. Actually, they were fairly cheap, all things considered. I thought they were going to be more expensive. But anyway, let's get to those two Capcom titles. The first Capcom title in these last two pickups is Shadow of Rome. Now, I remember really not liking this game when it first came out, or when I first tried it when I had a PS2. I felt like it was a bit weird. You play two different characters, and one character is a more stealth-focused approach, and I think that's what killed it for me, because I do like stealth when it's not super hardcore stealth. For example, like, I like the Splinter Cell games, but I'm a bit shit at them, for lack of a better term, right? I like Metal Gear Solid, but that's got more of a crazy narrative, more of an action focus in there as well, so I can get on board with those. But when it's like, you get spotted, you fail, I hate that shit. And from what I remember, the stealth missions on this are literally, you get spotted, game over. I could be wrong, it's been many years since I've played this game. With the release of films like Gladiator 2, for example, it made me want to check out some more kind of Rome gladiatorial games. So Shadow of Rome, fit the docket for me, definitely. Really glad to get this one. It's actually in pristine condition. It might as well be new, to be honest. Really nice condition. Looking forward to checking this one out, going back and revisiting this one. That's Shadow of Rome. The final game in this episode of Project PS2 is a game that I never really understood what to do or how to play it. And I just generally just dismissed it as like, this game is rubbish when I was younger. I was like, I don't understand it. It's too weird. It's bloody wacky as hell. I don't understand anything it's trying to do or say. That game is Killer 7. Now, I've seen loads of footage of this game recently over the last couple of weeks. People talking about different Capcom titles that they like, or underrated titles as well. And loads of people talk about Killer 7 as an underrated PS2 game. And I've never liked it growing up. And I thought, when I saw it was only £12 for PS2, and I'm really surprised because I thought it was more expensive than this. 12 quid, complete with manual. I thought I'm going to take a shot on this one because as an adult, I might understand it a bit more, and it might not confuse me as much. Hopefully the wackiness would make more sense now, or I can actually appreciate the wackiness of this, and the mechanics could actually make more sense now I've actually grown up enough to understand it. But then again, I'm an idiot, so maybe I won't understand it. But yeah, really looking forward to giving this a long overdue revisit. And again, I love Capcom, so it goes into my collection as a Capcom game. But yeah, again, this is in absolutely pristine condition. Really surprised, guys, 12 quid. Why did I think it was more expensive? It's weird because games obscure like this, you would have thought would hold a more higher price point. But 12 quid, if you haven't got this, guys, and you've got a CEXs local to you, go and grab it. That's Killer 7. So that is it, guys. That is 8 titles added to Project PS2. I need to create a new shelf behind me for this PS2 games because it's getting wild over here. But yeah, really happy about these. I think I've got some great titles here. The Capcom titles in particular, really looking forward to revisiting those. And out of all of them, that Tokyo Extreme Racer looks right up my street. I love my racing games, and that's a racing game that I've got very vague memories of, but I'm looking forward to checking out. That is it, guys. Let me know, as always, any of your thoughts on these games in the comments down below. And as always, let's continue to build an insanely crazy PS2 collection.